But just getting out and getting moving, getting that blood flowing is going to increase those neurotransmitter productions in your brain, the serotonin, the dopamine, those happy chemicals, just to make you feel good and to de-stress.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Healthy Living Wichita podcast with Go Time Training. I'm your host, Raymond Elliott, lead personal trainer at Go Time Training in Northeast Wichita, Kansas. I've been in the fitness industry for over 20 years now, and I've seen it all. This podcast cuts through all the fads and gimmicks to give you the science-based truth on all things fitness and nutrition, so you don't have to try to figure it out on your own. If you want to live happier and healthier and get the scoop on how to work out, eat right, and keep a positive mindset, you're in the right place. It's go time. Now, let's get to the show. All right, we're back here with Healthy Living Wichita. We're on episode 4 today. So it's another rainy day here in Wichita. We have our special guest, Caleb Campbell. But before I get in that, I just want to say happy anniversary to Go Time Training. We'll give a selfless plug here. We've been here for 8 years, and it's just been amazing over the last 8 years, the impact that we've been able to help with the community, but the impact the communities have on us. So I just want to say thank you, everybody that has been a support, that has trusted in us over the 8 years, that has gave us the opportunity to be able to continue to do what we love to do and our passion, which is to help you guys. And that's really a big part of what this podcast is. This is just another extension of that, of being able to help this amazing community of Wichita and surrounding areas. And a part of that is going to be one of our newest coaches here that we're super excited to have, and going to be our special guest today, Mr. Caleb Campbell. So after that little intro, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, boss, and kind of we'll go from there.
Thanks, Raymond, for that amazing introduction. That was great.
No problem.
Glad to be here at Go Time Training with the fam. My name's Caleb, like I said. I got my certification for personal training through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I'm also instructed in group fitness as well through the AFAA. Also got my master's degree in kinesiology at Cal State Long Beach, so a few credentials there. A little bit more about my background. I have a little bit more of a background in psych and behavioral health change, and trying to make positive life changes and help people reinvent the wheel pretty much and get out of their rut and make positive life changes and reduce their negative habits. And so that's a little bit about me. I've turned it more into a fitness realm, and yeah, I'm glad to be here.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big understatement that people don't understand is how important mindset is, right? That's the whole aspect. I think people look at like the nutritional science, and they look at like the exercise science and like how to increase lean body mass and what is the actual physiological of the body. But without the mind and getting yourself to do it, that's huge. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that they don't really teach you as much in personal training. We're starting to see that with more behavioral change models and into different certifications. But yeah, I think that's a great aspect. Kind of on, you think, based off your experience, how do you feel like the mindset and having understanding of and having that education within psych has helped you as far as just working with individuals?
I think it really has helped me just kind of understand where people are coming from and why they struggle with certain behavioral changes. We get stuck in our motivation. We don't want to work out as much. But we see nowadays, like you said, it's a major component along with not only the diet and the physical aspect, but a lot of people forget the mental side as well. You see it nowadays with athletes. Everybody's got their own personal sports psychologist just to get that extra edge, that enhancement in their game, because they're not only getting part of it, they're getting the whole thing. So they can use 100% of their optimal performance and get the most out of what they do. So I think that's huge. But yeah, again, back to my background, I think it's really helped me understand where people are at and where they want to go, and really help them reach their goals to their capabilities, and really help them see it as more realistic, because sometimes we get visions in our head that are unrealistic, and then helping them understand what it's going to take to get there. I think that's huge.
Yeah, it's extremely huge. I know they always kind of have that saying, just eat less, move more, but there's so much more to that, and that's I've heard, I think it was Dr. Spencer Nogalski that says, he's like, that's telling an alcoholic just to drink a little less. Yeah. Like, there's a lot more other factors that go into play. and a lot of that has to do with people's emotional, mental backgrounds, environments, things like that. So it's not as easy as that. There's definitely a mindset. So it's not that just people are lazy. There's a lot more that goes into that aspect
come into play
for everybody.
Yeah.
I feel it myself. So kind of piggybacking off, I don't know if you got a chance to catch our podcast number 2 or 3 or 1, what it was all about me. My favorite one, of course. No, I'm just joking. I've actually loved all the other podcasts as much as I'm sure I'll love this one. But that, the first one was kind of just nutrition. After, obviously we're going through the situation with the quarantine, COVID-19 having a huge impact on all of us and our health and lifestyle and fitness. So we talked about nutrition. We talked about just kind of like what is getting back into the gym. But probably a really big part of this is going to be mindset. How does people get themselves back motivated? A lot of people has been sitting at home, and we've kind of talked that we're going to have those 2 parts of demographic. We're going to have people that's chopping at the bit. They just can't wait to get back in. They're sitting at the doors. Please, governor, open up our gyms. But we're going to have other people that, one, are somewhat going to be scared of just getting around people. There's going to be their own mindset on that. But just, once you relapse, and I mean, I will say personally for myself, it has been a extreme struggle to get back in it. And I find myself to be a pretty motivated person that loves fitness. And obviously, I mean, well, look at what we're doing. Yeah. So if I am having those difficulties, I imagine a lot of other people. So what are some strategies, or what can people do to get their mindset back into getting in here or getting healthier, making those steps?
I mean, as humans, we cycle with that. We're motivated sometimes we're not. We go off of how we feel for the most part, and that's really good. But yeah, after something like this, COVID-19, it's out of our control. And when we look at something and we perceive something to be out of our control, it can be intimidating. It can be scary even. So like you said, some people are ready to get back in and ready, fired up, ready to go. But then you have those who are hesitant and just super cautious about getting back into it and what they're going to encounter, because they can't control the environmental situation right now. If it was more under their control, they'd have more confidence and they'd be more relaxed about it. But when you don't have control over certain things, it can be a little intimidating. So I can see how that holds people back. But then when we think about the mindset and how our thoughts and what we do, what we think to make us act. Let's say I'm hungry, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk to the fridge and I'm going to get something to eat.
I did that a lot over these last 9 weeks.
So that's automatic for us usually. Right. We don't think about that. But to get to that point, we think about it as being something very important to us. We value it highly. We have to eat food to survive. So that's important to me, so I'm going to go do it. I'm going to put forth the actions or the behaviors necessary to go get this food and feed myself because it's important. Same with sleep and different rituals like that. Well, we should start thinking about that as well with physical activity or just exercise. If we value it, not even exercise or just moving in general, but if we value our family, if we value our health, if we value our friendships and relationships, if we value our employment and our work ethic, in the long run, those things are all connected to our health and how we feel. So if we're taking care of ourselves physically, then the mental is going to coincide with that as well. And it's going to rub off on all those other life aspects. So if we turn working out consistently, or at least moving consistently on a daily basis into something we highly value, we're more likely going to turn that into a long-term sustainable goal. And we're going to act on that more frequently and consistently. Whereas if we don't value it very highly, we're going to come up with some excuse. We're going to have that inner dialogue in our head and talk ourselves out of it. Well, I planned on doing this today, but you know what? I need to do this instead. Right. Whereas if we get into that continuous groove, it's easier to do it automatically, just like getting up and walking to the fridge, rather than trying to talk ourselves out of it. So it takes some practice and it takes some consistency just to create that habit. But it takes a little while for most people to get there. And like you said at the beginning, we're going to hit cycles where we're demotivated. But that's important. That's the reason why it's important to remember our whys. To remember the real purpose, why we want to be healthy, why we want to stay fit, and why we want to eat right and get enough sleep and take care of ourselves. That way we can be the most we can for our family and those around us and for ourselves and live an optimally satisfied life.
Optimally satisfied life. That sounds pretty good. That sounds really good. I like that. So that being said, I hear you like saying talking about our why. So for our viewers out there that are having difficulty getting motivated, they're not only just worried about the COVID-19. I think that has a whole nother aspect too. But just like I've been out of the gym for 9 weeks, I maybe not been doing much at home. What is some things that they could do right now to maybe help? And like you said, you don't have to work out because you're motivated. Like you said, motivation is going to be an ebb and flow. But what are some things to do for people to start making that decision, get in that car, or get on their bike, or whatever it may be to get back active? How we jumpstart that, and what can they do personally?
The first thing you got to do, and we go back to the whys. We have to really consider why it's important to us, and to get to really understand why something is important to us. We really have to delve deep down inside of us, of like really what is going to drive us, what's going to consistently put forth effort, what means the most to us. Because like I said, if we value it higher, if we have more value for something, we're more likely to do it. So I would say start out by writing down the importance. Why is exercise or frequent exercise, consistent exercise good? And then what are the cons about it too? So making a pros and cons list. But then also maybe setting a goal, starting off small and working your way up. Some people think that they need to just jump in and do a whole bunch all at once. Not necessarily. That actually creates more of a short-term cyclical experience. Whereas if you're looking for more long-term adherence and lifestyle change is what we like to call it, then you're going to want to start off slow, or something that you're capable, something that's achievable, something that's realistic. And then work your way up. Just try not to come in right off the bat and just push as hard as you can until you hit a burnout, but instead creating that change slowly over time.
Those small successes, those small steps will help build
that confidence and build that self-esteem.
Self-efficacy, and you start to feel good about yourself, so create some mastery. So basically what I said out there, go get a pen and a paper, start writing down your whys and write down the pros and the cons of those, and then set some small goals, some things that are some achievable steps. Right. You can have that longer term goal in the future, and you can always kind of keep that in mindset, but start working those one steps at a time instead of trying to jump the whole stairs. Right.
Yeah. And you also want to be mindful of your thoughts. So like during the quarantine, what were some of the reasons or excuses you made for not being physically active, or for eating more food, or unhealthy foods?
Netflix was a good one for me. so I haven't got to watch very many TV series.
So think about those excuses and how they align with your goals and what you truly want to get out of life. I mean, if they're mismatched, then you can see ahead of time and you can prepare for those situations. That way, when you come to those situations that are difficult, you can be like, okay, well, this is what I usually tell myself. But you know what? I wrote down this model to tell myself, to practice saying to myself in these situations when they occur. So that way, after a while, after practicing this over and over, it'll become more autonomous.
Yeah, I think exactly what you said, self-talk. I don't think we realize that, even though we do it constantly. Yeah. It wasn't until I did my second show, maybe my first show, but until I did a contest where I really had to go to extreme levels of caloric deficit, which I don't suggest for anybody. Shows are amazing to do and a really cool thing. And I think the biggest thing I got from it, other than just having a six-pack and 300 photos that I'll recycle on Instagram for the rest of my life, I apologize for that right now. But I learned a ton about self-talk and rationalization, and it's amazing how much we rationalize every day. But like you said, I had an extreme goal, and I knew that I was going to have to be in some little bitty shorts in front of a ton of people being judged, and that was enough that that tilted me one way or another. So there was tons of times where I'd look at food or look at different things or not want to work out, and then that was always. So it does have to be something that's pretty important to you, and you have to sometimes figure it out. So losing 20 pounds, that's important, but obviously, if it was extremely important, you might have already done that. But why do you want to lose that 20 pounds? What's the more important part? Is because, like we have a client together, is because he wants to be able to be active for his daughter's wedding. That's a lot different than being 20 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds because I want to feel better at a wedding for my daughter because it's such a huge event. That can be very powerful. Yeah. So trying to discover those, I think, is a great aspect. And then trying to figure those things out. So those are really, really good steps. Any other good steps for people that you can think of, far as just getting back into the groove going forward?
Just another step people can take is just to identify 3 things you value the most in your life. Is it your family? Is it your religion? Is it your work? Is it your health? Are those things important to you? And if they are highly important to you, what is the connection between that and staying physically active on a consistent basis, and eating, sticking to a good diet or a normal diet for the most part? If you can remember those things and create those whys, connect those values to your whys, and remember that when you have low motivation, that's really going to get you fired up and get you going during those times that you feel really slow.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I think something that you said, what was the optimal satisfaction,
Optimal life satisfaction.
and then you said just like a higher, it makes you better at everything. And I think that's another thing that we forget, that eating healthy, being active, also helps out with our career, also helps out with our relationships, also helps out with being better parents. Like, we don't always put those together. We look a lot of vanity, which is fine. Cosmetics has been a hugely motivational part of my side. I'm sorry, but it has drove me to do things. But I think when we think about like how much health and fitness can actually have effect on every part of our life, that's huge. And we're like, man, I'm going to do this because it makes me a better parent. It makes me a better spouse. It makes me a better employee. It makes me a better boss. That's a totally different level of reasons to do something, instead of, I fit my jeans a little bit better, or I look better in my medium express shirt.
Yeah. And just like the assessments we do here every 6 weeks physically to see if somebody has made progress. I mean, mindset is something you want to check in with yourself periodically, maybe once a month or every couple of months, just to see where you're at in life. And am I satisfied with where I'm at in life, or do I need to make some adjustments? So it's not just physically, but mentally too. Am I satisfied with where I'm at? Thinking about those thoughts. Are they positive? Are they negative? Where am I going in life? Where do I see myself? And just reevaluating where you're at and what you want for yourself.
Change your self-talk.
It changes. And changing your self-talk is huge for that.
Yeah. We do a lot of it. This is golden stuff here. I mean, I love Casey and I love Nick, and I think that the nutrition aspects and those things, but I think mindset can be maybe, if not probably, the biggest factor when it really comes to achieving fitness goals. Not progressive overload, not hitting your macronutrients. Those obviously are needed to hit it, but without the mindset, those things are not important. So these are some really good nuggets out there. So I hope you guys are paying attention. That's the good thing about it is that you can always hit replay. And there's multiple avenues that we're on, so that's really, really great. So I think those are all amazing things, Caleb. I don't know if there's anything else that you kind of want to touch base on, but just kind of summarize, basically writing down your whys, revisiting those whys,
using positive inner dialogue,
combine those to other parts of your life and connect those and see how those together. Anything else? I always like to summarize, just so I make sure that everybody kind of, if they don't listen to anything, they can listen to that part and kind of understand. Anything else in that I missed?
No, I think you covered it.
Man, it's been good. So, Caleb, brand new to us, going to add obviously a lot of value to everybody. I hope that's add some value to you guys out there. We know that the whole situation with everything's on, we literally care about every aspect of people, their mindset, their nutrition, their physicality, how they're being just living life. We want everybody to be happy, and that's why we always say they're living healthier, happier lives. Not that people have to be in shape to be happy. It's not about, oh, I look better in the mirror, now I'm happy, because that doesn't always correlate. And just because you're in great shape doesn't mean that you're going to be happy. It's all the other aspects that we're talking about: being happy, confident, feeling good, able to have good self-talk to yourself, and you in learning who you are. I think is a huge part of the journey of fitness and nutrition.
Yeah. And we can't forget like what physical activity does for mental disorders like anxiety or depression, stuff like that. Especially now with the coronavirus going on, people are dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, like I said, about stuff they can't control.
Sadly, suicide
suicide rates
people
have been up as well. Yes, exactly. So, I mean, just remembering that we don't necessarily have to come to the gym to be active. If we're scared to come to the gym, we can still do stuff at home. We do virtual trainings here as well. But just getting out and getting moving, getting that blood flowing is going to increase those neurotransmitter productions in your brain, the serotonin, the dopamine, those happy chemicals, just to make you feel good and to de-stress. So it's just important to remember, physical activity is not just good for everything else in your life, but it's also good for your mental and emotional awareness.
Yeah, you don't have to work out just to look better in a bathing suit. You can literally just work out just to feel better.
Exactly.
To be
feel more satisfied, feel a little bit more confident and relaxed.
Yeah, and people that actually, they show the studies that people that actually work out for primarily health benefits have a lot more adherence than people that work out just for cosmetic benefits. So if you can tie it into health, because technically every time you work out, you're improving your health, right? But every time you work out, you might not see immediate results. So that's a little bit more difficult thing.
It's important to remember.
Excellent. Yeah, intrinsic. You're throwing out all the good terminology out there. So good. That's pretty much. I think that's the basis of it. Is stay consistent, stay within your mindset. If you guys have any questions, feel free. It's been awesome to have you on. I hope you feel comfortable.
I do.
This has been good.
Great. Yeah.
We're gonna hang out here for a little while, but that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining us into another podcast. Please share, like, all those good things. We love you all out there. Have a good one. Thank you for listening to the Healthy Living Wichita podcast with Go Time Training. If you enjoyed today's show and want to get started with your own fitness journey, I'd love to help kickstart your goals. How do 4 60-minute personal training sessions for $99 with me sound? Head over to www.gotimetraining.com/podcast to claim yours. I can't wait to meet you.